Hello, everyone. It's a slightly under the weather Fat Jolly Guy, but we are here for episode 12 of Edge of the Map Homebrew Campaign. I am joined today by most of the crew. I've got Joe Cool. I had Joe Cool.
Hello.
There he is. I got Mr. Clutch.
Yo.
I got Mrs. Clutch.
Hello.
And I got Tim.
Heyo.
The last episode, episode 11, we saw the coronation of King Damien. We saw Eloquin the Dragon make her appearance in the city. And we saw the apparition of Archibald Blackthorn himself. And with such, during the coronation of King Damien Thrawn, he gave him a wedding gift. The return of one of his friends from Aether's Landing. Could have been anybody that Damien had run into while he was at Aether's. It could have been the bartender, Gideon. It could have been the tradesman, blacksmith, Ironwood. It could have been the enchanter, Jenkins. It could have been any of the ladies of the night from the Velvet Veil. But the quick thinking of Damien and an even more cunning persuasion check, Damien said, "I want them all." And that's exactly what Blackthorn did, teleporting each one of them in front of him. Ironwood, Gideon, and Jenkins appeared in the throne room at Zatan City. And as quickly as Archibald appeared, he dissipated without any further discourse. And while this reunion was joyous, it was also bittersweet, because now the knowledge that Archibald knew of Zatan City and knew that Damien had made his place here soured everything. The secrecy of this town and this city and its people is no longer in contest any longer. Damien knows this now. And it seems that Archibald, once again, is another step ahead of this group of people. Alara, trying to rectify this situation, dismissed the people of Zatan from the room and sent them away. And gave them the keys to her once studious mansion in the city, allowing the party a place with ample space to stay, rest, and restore themselves, along with the newfound members from Aether's Landing. As the party entered into the mansion, the architecture and the surroundings reminded both Vesper and Damien's of a place long since gone from their histories. But the party was happy to have old friends in company. A dinner was made and stories were shared and camaraderie was had. However, it wasn't to last, as one of the three was quickly found out to not be well. The enchanter Jay Jenkins was an unwilling double agent, as a blood curse had been carved into his own body by Archibald, because Archibald knew that Damien had the closest ties to him and was most likely to pick him, and he was sent to be the eyes and ears and spy on the party furthermore. But Jenkins, of his own sound mind, knew this and wanted to take the opportunity to get the farthest away from the party as he possibly could, because he did not want to hurt his friends. He did not want to feed information to the enemy, even if it meant his own demise. And while the party deliberated in the gardens on what to do with Jenkins, Bishop said that this was too much of an undertaking for anyone to make this late at night, and that he would stand guard over Jenkins, since that he did not require sleep, being a warforged, and an ever vigilant guard to make sure that nothing would come to Jenkins. The party agreed with this, and they went to bed, having a long rest. And as day breaks in Zatan City, the ever-glowing bluish pink barrier still shimmers over the city, and the sun glows ever brightly. It's another wonderful day in the city. This perfect picturesque landscape below, where the mansion sits nestled in the top of the hill of the old city, overlooking everything. You can definitely see where this mansion was built. A lot of ego and a lot of the old ways of the world was put into it, and why Elara might have abandoned it when she realized that it wasn't who she was any longer. But regardless, it is still a beautiful place, nestled in a beautiful spot in the city, and it is worthy of a kingly home and a kingly party. And that is where we'll pick up the story today.
I assume that it's another day. I guess I should get up and do my morning yoga.
Damien is rolling investigation to see what, like, the shelves that go around the room. Kind of just seeing what is already here. Acquainting himself to the room.
Damien, as you are getting out of the bed and you're searching your room that you're in, you're looking at the books on the shelf. Some of them appear to be manuals of architecture. Other ones appear to be manuals of arms. Some of them just appear to be documentation about city archives. Nothing just jumps out at you. It seems to be more private collection, especially a lot of it in the corner area. A lot of this cabinet over here in this area, a lot of this is like personal collection fiction books. Most of the stuff here seems to be more like city stuff, like personal record kind of stuff. Nothing just really jumps out at you, though.
Anything over on this little thing, or I don't even know what this is, but
you find various bottles, perfumes mainly. You know that this room that you're in was the room that Elara had picked for herself. So it is your aunt's room. So you do see some of her personal effects that may have been abandoned to this room. You know, as you go through the drawers, you see some of her sundries, you know, clothing and such, but not much. The drawers are pretty much empty. Maybe a few, you know, towels or something left behind. The armoire is empty. The closet is empty. Even the bottles that were left on the dresser are mostly empty perfume bottle or near empty.
I tell you what, Moon. This place is magical.
It is beautiful. I've never seen structures like this before.
Damien is going to be relieving himself.
Is that like closet?
Yeah, that's like a closet.
I think I'm gonna go into the garden this morning.
Ah, yes. Damien's gonna peer into Vesper's room just to see if he's awake or not.
Damien, as you walk into Vesper's room, I want you to make a kind of a wisdom check. You see Vesper, and you see his armor has been placed on the table, and you see him sitting cross-legged on the bed, and he's in some sort of trance, and this dark aura is around him. And it's almost like this whole corner of this bedroom is covered in shadow.
Damien's just gonna step forward a little bit, like not in any, violent nature, but he's gonna slowly unsheath his sword.
Vesper,
See how it affects the darkness.
Hearing the sword pulls out, he kind of wisps a hand in front of him in a stopping motion. Cousin, I'm just communing. I am okay. And you just see him kind of return back to that position.
Is it okay for me to see how the sword reacts to the darkness?
Proceed if you must.
Sure, you might be curious to see how the darkness reacts to my sword.
I am trying to channel these new gifts that I have. Understand them better.
Hi. Continue. I don't want to disturb.
Actually, that's a good idea. And you see Vesper pull all of that shadow back into him, but it all funnels back into that handprint that's on his chest. And for a moment, when he opens his eyes, they're just pitch black. And he stands up in front of you on the floor.
Well?
I have a new ability. I want to try.
Oh, really?
Step back, cousin, while I channel it. I've not done it before, and I don't want anything to go wrong.
Proceed.
And you watch his still black-eyed Vesper, and he kind of pulls this darkness energy down his arms, and you see it kind of wrap around his wrists as two swords kind of appear in his hands. They're coated in black, almost flames. Very good. All right. Here.
That is very interesting.
Try to
What does
strike
the
it.
vesper do?
I want to see how strong it is.
Aye. And
And he kind of like,
Damien-
he holds it away from him. He's still holding it, but he holds it away from him for you to strike.
And Damien won't hold back. Because he knows he's trying to test how strong it is.
And with both hands, as I assume you're not holding your shield, so versatile, you're coming down full force onto this. You
Yeah.
see the collision of your radiant sword against this darkness, and that collision of that dark and light as it meshes. It rebounds so violently between the two of you that it causes a small explosion between the two of you. And it kind of rolls both of you.
Is this able to be heard by both Mora and Moon?
Oh, for sure. You guys, anybody on this floor would have heard that recoil. In fact, probably anybody in the house could have probably heard that recoil.
As I would assume both ones, they both kind of acquaint themselves to what's going after what happened. They both kind of.
That is something else.
What just happened?
It's just an experiment, Moon.
An experiment that's gonna destroy the house we were just given?
I didn't think it was going to destroy the house. As Vesper holds up that darkness blade that he's now conjured so that you can see it.
I see. And Damien is of light.
Yeah. I had him strike it to see how well the spell would stay channeled, but the light and the dark rebounded.
Are you feeling under the weather, Vesper?
Not right now. The spell takes concentration, so as he kind of loses his focus and you see the spell dissipate, still no substitution for a real sword, but definitely in a pinch there. Going to be a powerful addition to my powers.
Aye. Well, Moon, do you have any idea what that was?
Should I do a religion check?
You can do religion.
I fucking hate. I'm sorry, babe, but 10's not my number. I know it's your number, but. And I have a +5 to religion.
Even with a 10, you would have enough insight to know that Vesper trying to commune has to go through you because you're his patron. So you knew that Vesper would have been communing this morning. You could have felt that and sensed that. And as such, you would have let that channel go through you to the faceless. So you know that there was a possibility that Vesper trying to further his understanding.
I don't know what information I could give him, though.
just that Vesper is growing in the darkness under your guidance. As Vesper's patron, it's not that you are his. It's not like you're his guardian or watchful eye to make sure that he's not going to do anything dumb. But just reassure Damien that anytime Vesper connects to the darkness, it has to be through you. So that
I can feel it.
You feel it. Anytime Vesper connects to the darkness, it has to be channeled through you. So you would have known that Vesper was communing with the darkness this morning, which is why you would have passed by his room, because you knew about the channel.
Right.
Well,
I mean, is there any like teachings with the monks about like light magic and how it affects her dark magic, I guess?
No, it's radiant and darkness are always going to be at oppositions, and especially when it's conjured into physical forms. So Vesper's physical dark blade versus Damien's physical radiant blade, and then the fact that they went full force with one another, it just literally created a pop of magical anti-magic. You know, two opposites. It's like trying to slam two opposite magnets together.
And mind you, Valmoria heard, felt, and did everything, but she still continued on with her morning yoga because she figured that the group was up to their regular antics again.
That's very fair.
That's very Valmora. So yeah, I would say that Moon would probably have enough understanding, especially in her as a death priest, to know that, at least give enough guidance to both of them that light and dark don't mix, and that if they are going to test darkness powers against light powers in the future, probably not to go full force.
And
at least
inside.
not first. Yeah.
well, okay. Understood. Well, after that, I suppose I could use some fresh air.
Agreed. Vesper's gonna slap you on the back on the way out, and just like a tinge of that darkness just like pops against your shoulder.
Oh, which room, by the way, did you end up choosing, Joe?
Joe, I had Joe in this room, so that he would be like right here up next to the gardens and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, Joe's got his picking of the two rooms. Cause
Yeah.
Oh, good morning, Valmora. Let me get out of your way. And...
Good morning. Did you guys happen to see like my room? I chose that one because the rug is so beautiful in there. I like it.
It surely is.
And I have my own personal library. I mean, well, technically it's not mine, but it's a library.
This place is very serious.
This is a beautiful garden.
Aye. Indeed it is.
From anywhere on the second floor that you guys are at right now, currently, in this spot, you can see down into the first floor, and you see Gideon working in the lower garden.
Good morning, Gideon.
He might not hear you inside the greenhouse, though.
Damien's still gonna yell it. Excited to see him.
Gideon might like look up and around, because he might have like heard it.
He'll be waving his hand.
Gideon will have seen that, and you'll see he'll stop with the hoe, and he kind of raises his hand and waves.
It's good to have him and Ironwood.
It's good to have everyone safe.
Still haven't really put much thought into what we should do with Jenkins.
Well, we need to get more information. We need to see if we can find a way to heal his body of the ingrained spell.
I'm not too familiar with magic, but do know spells.
Damien! Damien, are you up there?
Yes, yes, Bishop.
Meet me downstairs. We have something to discuss.
Aye. So he'll kind of give a nod and, well, I suppose that is my cue to go back inside. Vesper,
Yes.
Enjoy.
Where are you
I'll
going?
be downstairs. Bishop has called me.
Okay. Well, I'll see you later. Vesper, don't mean to be rude, but would you rather me move to another place so I can finish doing my yoga?
No, Val. I'm just gonna close my eyes here and take a nap. The breeze and the sunlight is nice.
Okay.
Good morning, Nellis. Bishop, we shall talk in here. As Damien's gonna acquaint himself with the kitchen. Attempt to make people food.
Damien.
Yes, Bishop.
There's something we need to discuss. About your enchanter friend.
Yes, Jenkins. I hope he didn't cause any problems.
He was no problem. But he is not with us any longer.
Damien's gonna kind of put both hands on the slab of table. What happened?
I know we are not on the best of terms, you and I. But I seen that you were struggling with this decision. And talking with Mr. Jenkins, he also saw you struggling with this decision. He simply wanted to leave to not cause any more trouble. During the night, we took 2 horses from the stable, and we went to the docks. We went around the city wall through the ice, as to not give away any position in the city. Any other details? Jenkins chartered a ship and he did not tell me where. Only he knew. He left.
This Damien will go back to cooking. It was probably for the best. Yeah. As Damien will kind of laugh under his breath, and he'll say, it was most likely either that or death.
There is one other thing, Damien.
Aye.
He told me that you are always running out of arrows. I didn't understand what he meant at the moment, but he gave me a quiver of them to give to you. And with everything going on, I knew better than to question why, because I've never seen you run out of arrows.
That's old fool. Thank you, Bishop.
I'm sorry if I took away your choice as the leader or king or... I just wanted to be of assistance. And I could tell that everybody involved was highly stressed by this decision. It seemed a logical choice to allow him to just simply get away.
Aye. As much as a king would probably dislike that decision, someone taking that away from them, I'm okay with it.
I want you to roll investigation on the quiver. Damien, as you are still cooking breakfast, you can't help but to grab the quiver, even if it is just to move it so that you can continue to cook. You know what they are. But the fletchings catch your eye. They're Aranthian purple and white. Not like Jenkins' normal fletchings.
That's old fool.
You draw an arrow. The shaft is made of mahogany. Something that arrow shafts are not commonly made of. Arrow shafts are made of cheap, disposable woods because they're designed to not be recovered. And as you pull the arrow out completely, you see that the broadhead on this arrow is made of green malachite. This is a very, very enchanted arrow. There are a dozen of these malachite arrows in here. And while these are not your normal enchanted arrows that Jenkins did for you back in the day, what these are radiant arrows. These arrows shine in the light. They pierce darkness And they do 1d20 radiant damage. And double if they are against a target of darkness.
They pierce darkness. Say what it is one more time. I'm just writing it down.
It does 1d20 radiant damage. Plus their normal piercing damage of 1d10. So it's 1d10 piercing, 1d20 radiant. But if it is a darkness target or a dark enemy, it is a 1d40 radiant. These arrows are also recoverable. There are 12 of them in this quiver.
Now, for my own curiosity, how would Damien be able to recover one of these?
When you kill a target, you will need to go to the target you kill and loot them back from the body.
Okay.
So it will be your responsibility to remember when you use these arrows and what enemy you hit them with, so that you can get them back.
Okay.
As you replace the arrow in the quiver, you notice a note. And you pull it out. And you hear Jenkins's voice in your mind. But by the time you're reading this, I'll be gone. I hope this finds you well, and I hope these arrows serve you even more. I have been working on these in secret for a long time. Ever since the first time I met you, you were always looking for something different, something more powerful, something worthy of a king. And I hope these fly true, fly straight. I wish I could have given to you under better circumstances. But this will have to do. Your friend, Jenkins.
Damien will kind of fall back into the table behind him, kind of just slumped.
The note also describes what the arrows are and do, just so you know. That's how you know exactly what they are and do.
Okay.
Man, that's heavy, bro.
Damien will kind of tuck the letter into his armor and continue to cook. And if possible, I'm gonna roll another survival to see how well he cooks the food after all that.
I would say that it has given you new purpose on life. Morning, Damien. I got the fresh crop from the garden.
Ah, wonderful. It's been cooking, as you can see. Trying to acquaint myself with the new place.
Just trying to be helpful. I think Ironwood is too. He's out in the stable cleaning up.
Aye. I told you I would bring you somewhere today where you might be able to find a place of work. Would you still like that?
Of course. Idle hands and all that, you know.
Aye. Would you like me to try and find somewhere for your wife to work? Or is she going to be the stay-at-home type?
Well, it depends on what kind of work you could find for me and how well it pays. I've always been the kind to bring home the bread, you know.
Aye. I want you to know, when I said that you are one of us, I meant it. I will be making sure that yourself and Ironwood are able to open up your own shops once more and make a living for yourself again. Because I hope that this could be as good of a home to you as Atheus was for many years.
I really do appreciate that. But I would be amiss if I didn't tell you that you know things are bad in Atheus.
Aye.
And it wouldn't be right if I ran away from all of that. So I need to know right now, is there a plan in place? Something in motion to make sure that the bad that's happened there changes?
Well, we have a plan that to what it will be able to do for the future. We really can't tell it yet. I don't really think we'll be able to tell until it's done.
Well, I'm not asking you to predict the future by any means, but it's enough for me to know that somebody somewhere is trying to make plans, because you know, I told you I was a pirate captain in a different life.
Aye. All those stories.
I
almost remember all of them.
I left that life behind because I wanted my wife and my children to know who I was. Not because I wanted to leave the life behind. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, if there's a fight that needed to be fought, these old hands would find a gun again. But
I don't wish to put you in harm's way. You understand, right?
And I want you to know that even though I wouldn't want to leave my wife and kids without me, I will be right there when the time comes. Because Atheus is my home.
Aye. And it became my second home. I will wait until everyone is here for breakfast, and I will have everyone explain the plan to both you and Ironwood.
Well, May and Ironwood were talking. He still has connections in the Grey Mountains with some of his dwarfkin. You might yet find allies in some of the other nations that haven't been ruined by Duskholm and the tyrants from Aethius. There's still people out there that are good people in the world. And while there are pirates in the world, pirates still have a code of honor. At least some of them do. The ones that I knew.
Gideon, pique my curiosity for, won't you? Do you have a way to contact you know who? The little bird?
I did while I was in Aethius, though it was very difficult. Now that I'm out, it might be easier, but I can try to make some connections again. I know that he was in the middle of finding a new nest, the last I heard.
The way that things were left, I've been thinking about all of you lately. And really since we departed the city.
Is that something you want me to...
Okay. I'm sure that he's okay, but I would definitely like to talk to him. I would like to hear his opinion on some things.
I'll let him know. I'll try to make some connections again. If you'd like, I can try to set up a network in Zatan. It might help you know who when he gets his nest set up again.
Aye.
You know, the little birds are always willing to help those who help them.
Aye.
Even in a city such as this that seems so perfect on the outside, you know that there are secrets.
Aye, I do. And I would like you to pursue that.
Fair enough. That'll keep me busy then. Plus whatever work you say you have.
And if that really is the case, I might try and expedite you and that place of work on your own, if you know what I mean.
Fair enough. Although this mansion is big enough. Lord knows I could probably just stay here if you'd pay me a good enough wage. As he jabs you a little bit.
Aye. But you really suited for a maid, Gideon.
Nah. This place is nice, but it wouldn't hurt you to have some sort of steward here. The garden hadn't been maintained in some time. It took me most of the morning to keep all the weeds out of it. Even the plants I brought in are... this produce is... it's subpar.
Aye. Well... thank you for telling me that. That is something I'm going to have to keep in mind.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Whoever owned this estate, they had it set up good once, but... most of it is wild grown at this point. No organization. Nah. You know what I'm saying.
Aye.
Anyway, let me get this all cleaned up.
Aye. Aye. That is something that definitely could help. Well, let's see. Oh, I was just about to call for you, Moon. And everyone else. Food is almost ready, everyone.
Okay. I'll go tell Whiskey. Ironwood.
Good morning, Moon. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm right as a spring rain.
That's good. Why don't you grab yourself some breakfast?
I
Damien's
right.
made everybody something good.
Thank you kindly. Morning, Bishop.
Whiskey.
Yeah, what is it, Moon?
Why don't you grab yourself some food?
Sounds
Damien's
good.
made it this time.
Oh. Isn't that usually yours and Vespa's job?
Sure, typically is.
Mm.
Well, everyone.
Can he cook as good as you?
We're about to find out.
Well, everyone's not here yet.
I'm gonna grab Valmora. And Vesper. I just want to peer in to see if Valmora is still deep in, whatchamacallit, yoga.
Well, hello, Moon.
Good morning.
Would you like to join me?
Would you like to have a little bit of breakfast first?
Absolutely.
I'd love to learn your yoga moves.
Wow.
Let me
Morning,
grab
Whiskey.
Vesper.
Morning, Damien.
Vesper.
Breakfast will be out soon.
I mean, I'll try anything, I guess. I hope you can cook as good as Moon.
What's on the menu for today?
Well, looks like everyone is ready. Well, on the menu for this morning, we have some scrambled eggs with some vegetables thrown in there, and a big thing of ham. This was just sitting there in the little ice pit that they had there, and I decided to throw it on the little thing, you know. Here's some extra crispy bacon, some breakfast potatoes from you, Moon, some fresh fruit salad for you, Valmoria, and,
Thank you.
of course, some freshly squeezed juice and bean juice.
Yes, bean
Nice,
juice.
Nice.
Beans.
Please, everyone, dig in.
Moon won't
I've
waste
heard
any
from the
good
distant lands that they like to say before they eat, "Ikidakimasu." I have no idea what it means, but it sounds right.
Okay.
With,
Ikidakimasu.
with an 18, anybody who eats breakfast will get 18 temporary HP for today.
Woohoo.
Good, I might need it.
Well, I think it would be wise. Bishop, Nellis, come in. I know that you won't eat, but at least sit for the conversation. Ironwood, I know that you weren't there for the conversation we had this morning, but Gideon had asked if there was some type of plan set in place for Atheus.
Oh, you said plan.
Well, has anybody seen our sickly friend? Where did we say he was sleeping? We should probably check up on him.
Are we talking about Yuri?
I was
No,
also
Jenkins.
talking about.
I think she's
Yeah.
talking about Jenkins, Damien.
Oh,
Yuri is never one to actually.
Yeah, because
Sit
Lord
down
knows
and have
where
a
Yuri
meal.
is right now.
Bishop,
Yuri's probably in town somewhere.
can you please explain
Yes.
to the others, like you explained to me this morning?
Last night I took
It's okay, Bishop.
Bishop is gonna reach up. Nellis is sitting kind of on his shoulder. He's really small right now, and not his normal spirit guardian size, but he's really small. And Bishop's gonna kind of reach up and kind of pet Nellis as kind of like a calming thing.
After you all went to bed, I spoke with Jenkins, and he made a plea with me to just allow him to leave this place. His plan to me was pretty sound, and he expressed a concern that you were all under a great deal of stress to make a decision about him. He did not desire death, but he did not desire to remain here or be a spy for Archibald. And after some time of listening to him talk, I began to agree with his plan. We took 2 horses from the stable, and I rode with him along the outside of the city wall in the ice. It was a nice trip. He chartered a ship at the docks. He did not tell me where he was going, and that was at the benefit of everyone here, so that none of us could follow him. Jenkins has left, of his own will, to his own plans, for his own destiny. Once again, Damien, I'm sorry that I took this decision away from you, but I could tell the stress you were under, and Jenkins was stressed about it too.
Once again, I will tell you it is okay.
The decision making doesn't matter as long as he's safe. I mean, we had a hard enough time trying to get to this island to begin with. How is he able to doctor himself safely out? Can you adequately say that he was safe? It's not like the weather outside of this dome is easy, and in his condition, he could barely walk.
I do not
Sending
know,
him out there
Moon.
by himself just seems like
It was
such a waste.
It was his wish, and he seemed very steadfoot. He rode the horse with no problem. He even mounted it by himself, so while he does have an appearance of a frail man, I do not believe him to be of unsound body.
He has a strong will.
Yes, strong will is a good term.
So, Jenkins is now out of our reach, and it is better off that way. Because it was either this or death. And I know that it's all certain that we see them one day, the Lord of Death, but it is better off this way.
Well, cousin, we had no idea even if we tried to kill him what would happen. Those blood rituals and runes all over his body. Who knows what was carved into him? We would have killed him. Maybe he would have exploded, or would have just reanimated, or any other number of things.
Still believe that there was more than just these two options. I know that I am a priestess of death, but that does not mean that I condone it to everybody who is in a hard situation. I never wished death upon Vesper when Benny was inhabiting his body. Certainly did wish for Benny to go back because it created quite a turmoil between myself and my own religion.
Well, there's nothing we could do about it now.
Just feel like there could have been more that we could have done if we were given, an opportunity to explore options.
Yeah, but we are dealing with Archibald, so it's kind of hard for us to really gauge what we could have done and what we couldn't have done. It seems like he has an infinite amount of tricks up his sleeve.
Speaking of this Archibald, I only know what Nellis has told me of him. Will somebody fill me in on some of this backstory about this Aether's Landing? This Princess Aether? He said that there was a king and he's been corrupted, and that there was an airship dreadnought, and that Archibald basically was seizing the throne to do something. Nellis didn't know.
I think I have the perfect person to do that. Isn't that right, Mr. Storyteller himself, as he'll nudge Gideon?
You got the basics of it right. At the end of the day, I hate to even admit this, we were all pulled a sham. Archibald was the city magistrate for a long time for Aethius, and he was basically the king's right-hand man. And in recent years, probably even before then, things just started to click in the city. All of a sudden, we started getting more guards in the city for defense, and then new defenses were being built, and the city walls were being reinforced, and then, the castle was being renovated, and all these things were lining up, and it looked like, it's just general build-up, And then all of a sudden, this massive airship was being constructed. And we all of us, were like, why? Why this massive airship? And he told us all that it was a gift that the king was building for his daughter, because she was getting married to another nation's prince, and it was part of her dowry. Well, we all know that turned out to be bupkis. That airship turned out to be some sort of giant war vessel. Massive dreadnought. And after that day, the princess disappeared from the city. The dreadnought was unleashed. The city burned. Martial law was declared. The king has been barricaded inside the castle. Nobody's been permitted to see him. And all this time, Archibald has been running hotshot over everything. All of the gods in the city answer to him and him alone. And basically any business inside the city that's not crucial or vital to Archibald's plan has been shut down. Even Ironwood's shop was ransacked for supplies by the city guard nonetheless. My tavern, well, it burned anyway, but they wouldn't let me rebuild it. A lot of us, we took to the streets in riots, protests. The city guard, they drew blade against the crowd. That's when we all knew. That's when we knew that things were different in Atheus. Gideon's gonna look at you, Damien. That's when I really turned to the spy master. He had a plan. He did. We were gonna storm the castle. We were gonna take the king hostage. We were gonna use the king as leverage against Archibald to get back our city. And somehow he knew. The night of our raid, moments before we were getting ready to go out, the city guard raided the sewers. Firebombs in every drain across the whole city. They tried to burn us out like rats. A bunch of us didn't make it. That's when the boss man and those of us that were still with him at the time, we burned the nest to the ground and we got out of there. And he went wherever he went. And I went back to peddling on the street, gathering what information I could. We tried to keep communication open best we could, and well, at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know?
Aye.
But either way, Archibald has complete control over it. The city and the whole surrounding nation. And word is that Archibald is working with a chunk of Duskholm now. Not all of it, mind you. I don't know if you all are familiar with it, but apparently Duskholm is fracturing. It's breaking at the seams. Can you believe that? Duskholm in the middle of a civil war.
Aye.
I mean, I would
think
have...
all of us know very well about that.
I would have never believed a civil war in the most... a nation built on war and conquering everybody else around them, having a civil war of identity itself. Serves them right, if nothing else. But still, it's a dangerous circumstance. Because those who are extremists from Duskholm are allying themselves with Archibald, who's also extremely dangerous. And then you've got this other fraction of Duskholm. They're not warmongers or... I don't know. It's weird to talk about them that way, but they're really just the normal folk, the businessmen, the farmers. You know what I'm trying to say, Damien?
Aye.
Don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, Duskholm is Duskholm. But they're not all bad. Just like not everybody in Atheos is good. But Atheos is home. And I hate to see it like it is now. Anyway, I hope that answers some questions, Bishop.
It does. I do not know this plane of existence as well as this rest of this table does. Nellis is from here, but I am not. Although, I should call it home now. But I do not hail from anywhere. But I do know war when I see it. Right here, right now, this table is a war council. Damien, these are your generals. You know that, right?
I do.
Ironwood. You spoke about how you have clans of your kin buried in mountains, yes?
They're not. Well, they're not buried in mountains. They live in the mountain. They're dwarves. We dig massive cities in the mountains, but we're not friend to this Archibald or Duscombe for that matter. I still have a lot of my connections in those hills. I could reach out to them. We could see if we could make connections with them. If nothing else, maybe start a trade route, supply lines between this city here and them. Would be a great influx for, trade.
Aye. It would.
And Gideon, he is a general for you now, Damien. He speaks of his time with this boss of yours. And it seems like he is also a warrior. They made plans to try to raid a castle. Although it was sabotaged, still, strategy like that is rare amongst the men, at least in my experience. It is not something to be easily disregarded, especially one who seeks knowledge about the circumstances or the war before them before they act.
Aye.
And we've already talked about trying to reestablish connection, turning Zatan into a hub.
Aye.
And you have Valmora here. Valmora hails from her people, the Sacred Grove. I know Vesper is your shield, your right hand, your sword. And Moon, she has her people, her temple.
I'm not too sure what my temple would say about our people here,
Perhaps. But
especially you and Nellis.
maybe so. I might be an abomination to your religion. But you are ascended. You were once a monk. Now you are a priest. You are doing something right by your god, are you not?
I'd say so.
Then that is proof that you are following your way. Even though I am an ally of yours, at the end of the day, you are still walking your path. And those people of your temple would see that, just as I walk my path with my temple. And Whiskey, you are an artificer, a grand crafter. You must have people that you can call on.
I'm not too sure about the people I know, kid.
Either way, Father, you hail from somewhere. More than just Ziggy or, Nellis talks about the Explorers Guild, the Cartography Guild. He said it was massive. Hundreds of thousands of guild members searching all across this land.
I mean, yeah, they're the real reason why I was sitting here to begin with.
That sounds like a network of people and information that we critically need for a war effort. If we could leverage that information, get the guild on our side in this conflict, we might finally be able to get ahead of this Archibald, instead of him being ahead of us.
I hope that's able to happen.
It all happens one step at a time. War is a machine, Damien. It all starts with a single gear. One gear links to another, to another, to another, and they all begin to spin the grand machine. And at the end of the day, war is decided by whose machine is bigger. So we have to build a bigger machine than what Archibald has. Or at least sabotage his machine to the point where it is smaller than what we have.
I really wonder how Yuri's holding up, seeing as though he may be wrapped up in the situation of the Duskholm Civil War, as he was very well connected to quite a few Duskholm adventurers who are kind of straying from the Duskholm path.
I'm sure we could talk to him and figure that out.
Then it seems like you
a
might
few
have.
more on our team if we can kind of hone in on those Duskholm, I guess, rebellions. If they're in the middle of a civil war, they have an enormous amount of people who disagree with their teachings, with the way things have been running. We could take advantage of that.
Well,
Even if they won't ally with us, maybe we can use their war as a smokescreen for ours. Play one side against the other, or at least move in tandem so that he is fighting on two sides.
I like that idea, Bishop.
We could come across a truce, if you will, with the Duskholm Civil War. If they're on one end fighting Archibald, they see that we are also fighting Archibald. We come across an agreement to where we don't fight each other. Because that is another possibility that could happen in a civil war. They're just lashing out at aggressive parties, and I don't want to be rude, but we are an aggressive bunch.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to get in touch with that Magnus guy again. It seems like he would be a good enough guy to be in contact with if that's going to be the case.
I mean, I guess, yeah, probably.
Well, do you know any other Duskholm higher-ups?
I don't know anybody higher up. Well, I mean, I guess Damien.
Well, regardless of all this, I think we should continue this discussion further when we all get to the Citadel later today. But as of the plans for Atheas, we have discussed amongst ourselves that we will be forming a raiding party and attempting to crash land this Archibald airship.
Controlled landing. Controlled landing.
Thank you, Whiskey.
Running.
But I think in this case, I think crash is the right term.
I
I think we should just bring it down in a great big ball of fire.
I think I can handle that.
Well, I don't think you're gonna be alone, friend.
and I'll go into like the further details that like we discussed about, transporting through Valmora, and yada yada. So Gideon, there's your plan.
I definitely feel better knowing that you have not forgotten about us. Thank you.
As he reaches out and kind of grabs the back of your hand on the table and gives it a squeeze.
It would have been so easy for you to just go on about your life, you know?
Atheas became my second home after my first one was destroyed. And now this has become my third. I don't look to make anymore. Atheas is important to me as well.
I can see that. And it sounds like we have work to get done.
As he looks across the table at Ironwood.
Well,
I
day's not getting any younger.
Well, I will get ready to show you the places of town and where I think you might be able to find some work. That will just be a few moments.
What kind of work are they looking for?
Well, I figured I would bring Ironwood over to meet your girlfriend. And I'd bring Gideon over here to meet Jim. Jolly Jim.
That would be perfect.
So Ironwood's kind of a blacksmith?
Ironwood is
Not kind of.
yeah.
He is the blacksmith.
He is a blacksmith and a salesman. He's like a 2-for-1.
Well, you got to remember, out of everybody in Aethers, Jenkins was the only one I actually met. I got to see interactions with everybody else.
Right.
No, I'm sorry.
Gideon, I got to meet Gideon, but I mean, barkeep. Check.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't saying it as if you didn't know. I was saying that.
Oh no, I was letting you know. Remember, I legitimately, as a player, I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Yeah. But
So that's why I asked like I did. So like Ironwood's a blacksmith, like pretty
He is the
decent.
blacksmith.
Like so you're a
He's
pretty
a
good
tradesman
blacksmith.
and a blacksmith. And then Gideon is the owner of a tavern. Now burnt twice to the ground.
I mean, it is what it is.
So all right. So you're a blacksmith then, yeah?
I know my way around the forge, if that's what you're asking.
You just deal in metal, or
Well, if you put it in the fire and it gets moist and I can hit it with a hammer, I can work with it.
oh, can you now? I'm just gonna like start rummaging through my backpack. So, because I don't know how to make journal logs to pull it up here, I do have some stuff. Could you do something with this? And I'm just gonna pull out a tabaxi-sized piece of Tarask.
I feel like it'd be a lot more comedic if Whiskey went running to his workbench to where he kept it.
Oh, you're right. It would be.
My Whiskey.
Just like a giddy, tiny fucking tabaxi,
yeah,
just
Damien.
giggly running to get his toy.
Whiskey, would you prefer to take him to go see Astrid?
I mean, yeah.
I could
You're the
always
king.
come along.
If you want to take him, you can. But I'm not gonna say no.
Well, then bring him there yourself. Go see your girlfriend. And then after I bring Gideon here to go see Jelly Jim, I will come stop by.
I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not as lucky as to have mine staying in the house with us.
Damn, I mean, he did get you there.
Oh, shots
That
fired.
is fair. That is fair. Do you even know where she sleeps?
Well, with Death, I figured she didn't.
I am, how you guys, na 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 na.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow the cat away from the table.
Well, have fun. I will see you soon.
As I wild shape into a cat.
Well, Gideon, would you like to go see my friend Jim?
Let's go.
Aye.
Moon, Valmora, what are you doing for the day?
Probably gonna hang out in the library some more.
The one in town or the one in the mansion?
The one that is in the mansion.
All right. Moon?
Moon's gonna spend some time meditating because, like,
Ooh, you could probably. Oh, let me see here.
Like,
you
she's
could probably make the closet your meditation room. Wow.
turn that into a death worshipping site.
You could put your
I
little
have a
statue, like, right there.
plan for you, Moon. Okay. So let's get this organized. So I'm gonna pull some tokens places. Don't anybody move
Go to
theirs.
the bathroom while you're doing that.
I'm gonna pull. Okay, so there's whiskey.
Why don't we take like a short break?
Yeah, just a
Get the
little
dog.
bit while I get everything. Okay. And this gridless thing is so nice for just putting tokens right where I need them. Oh, I need... Okay. So I'm going to put Valmora there. Because she's going to remain at the house. Along with Bishop and Nellis. And Whisker and Ironwood. They're going to be over here. And Gideon and Damien are going over there. All right. Once everybody gets back, I am ready to rock and roll again.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I don't want to look at that shit no more. What the
What's
frack? God. Ashley's got some fun players.
You know how my one player killed off his character?
yeah?
His new character is a human wizard named Tim,
Okay.
which automatically caught my eye because, you know, Tim.
Tim the wizard. Okay.
There's
and
something that would call me Tim.
His religion is, or his faith is Taylor Swift as his god.
Oh dear gosh. Oh
And
dear gosh.
I'm not even done. Just wait for his backstory. Instead of making an actual backstory, I'm pretty sure how do I put this into words? His backstory is in the form of a parody of
The theme song for Prince of Bel-Air.
yes.
Oh Jesus.
Jeez. What? What?
Would you like to hear it? We can save it for another time. We're in the middle of ours. I haven't read it.
I mean, I feel like that's a train wreck rating to happen. Of course I want to hear it. But I'll wait.
Yeah, let's
We'll wait for another time.
All right. I have gotten everybody moved. Is everybody back? Is Joe back? I guess Joe doesn't matter. Well, he matters, but he's chilling at the library. Anyway. Who wants to go first?
I don't care.
Tim.
I would honestly, yeah.
First.
Tim,
that's
you
what I was gonna
Tim,
ask
you
first.
spoke up. You get to go first.
But all I said was I didn't care.
But you spoke up, so congratulations on volunteering.
Yeah, it's what's called voluntold.
Yeah, you said something,
Voluntold.
so you must want to go first. So
This house is a prison.
So you and Ironwood have made your way out of the old city, back down into the new city, and you've made your way into the back alley where the ironclad armory and foundry is located. Basically Astrid's bread and butter. And you're standing outside.
But
I can smell it already, cat guy. Smells like home.
I mean, smells like fire and steel to me.
Your muzzle is untrained. She's working.
She's always working.
As you enter into the forge, you see Ironwood stop short as he begins to stare. He's watching Astrid work the forge as she begins to hammer the steel and bend it around the anvil. Her mighty hammer fells, ringing in the forge like music. Whisker, I want you to give me a perception check.
Ooh. Come on. Throw some stank on.
With a 14, you look at Ironwood and you see him crying.
I see him what?
He literally has a tear running down his face.
Listen. She is pretty. That you don't have to cry.
I have never seen an angel work in a forge before.
Now, don't get any funny business, sir. I'm kind of fond of this one.
Yeah, I could see why. And when you told me at the house you were going to bring me to a forge for work, I didn't realize you were going to literally bring me to a small piece of heaven.
Well, yeah. I may not know everything about forging, but yeah, I'll agree with you.
You may not know about fortune, but she certainly does.
I mean, yeah. She
Have you-
also built my arm.
Have you seen the way she moves the metal?
Oh, I've seen the way she moves.
The power in each hammer stroke. It's commanding. It's
Astrid.
I don't... When I was but a young dwarf in the mountains, my grandfathers used to talk about how dwarves used to speak highly of women in the crafts. Because to be a female who could do what us dwarves could do was unheard of. And all my life, anytime I've ever heard of a female blacksmith, I always had to see it with my own eyes. And while, yes, I've met some very talented ladies in my day, this woman right here...
Yeah, she's dreamy.
Hey.
And with that, as she brings the hammer down, she dead stops it on the metal. And she death glares across the room at the two of you.
You're the one that knows her.
Hi.
Astrid walks over to you, Whisker. And she looks down at you with both hands on her hips. Is that all you have to say after yesterday?
Not in front of other people.
And who have you brought here? He's not one of your regular party.
No. I didn't get to meet him, but he's a real good friend of Damien's from Aces. He's looking for a job. He said he's a blacksmith and can swing a hammer really, really well.
We've got a lot of people in town who could swing hammers. You know how to make horseshoes? I mean, anyone worth their beard can make a horseshoe. You know how to make nails, then? Lass, I've been making nails since I was 4 years old. Then here. She grabs the hammer off the anvil. I've got a dozen swords need forged by tomorrow for an order going out.
Well, I guess I'm going to work. Excuse me?
Well, isn't that what you wanted?
I mean, it is, but I mean, it's a new forge, and I gotta learn things, and
You, me, outside now.
Yes, ma'am. I think you got me in trouble.
Good luck.
I'm gonna need it.
Astrid has her back turned to you right now.
I'm just gonna like walk up, tug on the back of her apron.
She's going to spin around. And she's going to pick you up with one hand. Pick you up off the ground, face level with her. 2 things. 1. Who is the ghost that's chasing you all?
Ghost?
Phantom guy. Interrupted the ceremony yesterday. Made people appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you much. If you want to talk to him, like, well, not talk to him because I couldn't. I can't really do that. But you wanna know more? You'll have to talk to Damien. He knows more. All I can give you is a name.
She's gonna let her grip go and kind of drop you a little bit. Listen, Whisker. As she kind of kneels down.
Yeah.
You are important to me. I need you to be okay. I need to learn from you if I'm going to get out of that forge. And yesterday at the Citadel, having some ghostly apparition show up and threaten you guys, it was just a little much. You know?
So,
Listen, I've only been with these guys a short time, but I've gotten pretty used to people threatening us. I guess I didn't think about who it might affect. And for that, I'm sorry.
you don't have to be sorry. I just want to make sure that you're gonna be okay. Because you have to teach me everything that's inside this brain of yours, as she kind of taps you between the ears.
I mean, I can try.
Good. Now give me your arm. That's number 2.
What do you need this for?
Because I had something come to my head. And she kind of
Giggity.
turns around and she's going to start wrenching on it a little bit.
Giggity.
That's what it was. Here. She hands it back to you. I'm just
Do
glad
I
you...
need to roll anything?
Nope, just put it back on. I'm just glad you
Alright.
didn't take the opportunity to tinker with it yourself.
Why would I do that?
We both know that when I put that thing together, it's basic. Now I'm still learning. But I was looking at the leg that you built me. And I had some ideas about what I might have done wrong on the arm. So put it back on and see if you can feel again.
And with that, I'm gonna just attach the arm back.
And she's immediately going to take your arm and she's going to press it to her chest. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Whisker, you feel her heart beating in the palm of your prosthetic hand. You can feel that?
Yeah. It feels like somebody pounding on an anvil.
Good. At least you have feeling in it again. And as far as your dwarf friend, I'll make sure he's put to good work.
Well, you can do that. I hope he works out for you, because maybe if he's decent, maybe it'll buy you a little bit more time, so I can show you some more stuff.
Oh, he's gonna work out. Because me and you are spending more time together. Both in and out of the workshop. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, good. Now get out of here before I find something else to pound you on.
Oh?
Oh, she said. Like, wait a minute, hold up.
All right, I'm gonna move you to the over map now, Tim.
Okay.
All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Damien Gideon. Zoop-de-doo.
Well, Gideon, welcome to the Frostfire Tavern.
I know it's cozy, ain't it?
Aye, it is. It reminds me of a place I ventured back to Not too long ago.
The walls are a bit bare in here, if you know what I mean.
Aye. Hopefully we can change that in the future.
Maybe with my own place again.
Aye. Well, here he is, the man himself. Jolly Jim.
Ah,
I
well,
would like you to meet my friend Gideon.
well, it's not every day. It's not every day that the king brings a man that appears out of thin air into my bar. So, I have a few questions, if you don't mind answering them.
Ask away, Jolly.
And, you're not gonna throw me in the dungeon for calling the guards on you the first day we met, are you?
Absolutely not.
Oh, thank God. Oh.
As I said, that day, you were just doing your job.
Phew. Oh, Callista, she was filling my head full of all sorts of nonsense. She said that when she said that you were gonna be king, and I said that's nonsense. He's just an outsider. And she said, why would they let outsiders into the city to run free if they didn't have some sort of lineage? And she started filling my head with all this, and then all of a sudden, there you were standing on a throne, and then oh. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I'm glad you see it that way. So, anyway.
I myself and my party wanted to keep our names low while we were in town until I was rightfully told in front of the entire city.
I see. Well, that's probably for the best. Try to keep some of the expectations low, or keep the drama of it all. So I get it. Anyway, you're here for a drink this morning? Maybe some breakfast?
Well, I will definitely take a drink, but this man here, his name is Gideon. Obviously, I'm sure you remember him reappearing out of thin air yesterday, and
I do.
Back in Athea's Landing, the place I told you about, he was the local bar, the local tavern keep, just like yourself.
A fellow aficionado. Well, here you are, Damien. A kingly drink, then. As Jim literally puts down a golden goblet in front of you.
Aye. Thank you, Jelly. Now, I would be curious, since you are a man of your connoisseur, I want to know what kind of drink you would give my friend here as I slap Gideon on the back.
Well, I actually would... No, wait. You're a difficult read. This is interesting, because, you see, you've had your lips on so many different tastes, and you've enjoyed so many different things. But I know.
Watch this.
What is he doing, Damien?
He has a thing for finding someone the right drink.
He has a gift then.
Aye.
He
Gift
knows.
indeed.
Here. Here. Jim is literally putting a wooden box down in front of Gideon. And it has a layer of dust on it.
Oh, this should be interesting.
I think this is what you're looking for. Damien.
Aye.
Is your friend here? You are correct, Mr. Jim, right? Jolly Jim. This is exactly the drink I've been looking for. As Gideon puts his hand on the box. But I'm not gonna drink it here. Oh. This is, it's all right. It's yours. You take it with you. Gideon's gonna pick the box up.
Well,
Damien, how well do you know that man?
well. Not well enough, but I know he's a good man.
And the drinks that he's ever given you, have you ever hated any of them?
No. Not one.
And have they always been drinks that remind you of a place from home? A memory?
Aye.
I don't need to look in this box to know what's in here. Or where I buried this box.
What are you saying?
Your friend over there. He can read memories. And he can pull food and drink from the memories. I don't know how or why. But this box right here, this was the box that I buried the day that I quit being a pirate. Inside of it is the last bottle of brandy that I ever stole.
So, you're telling me? Well, you didn't tell me this, but most likely behind that door, he's able to go and find whatever drink he needs to.
I'm saying somehow, some way, that man is not just a man. And he's probably the greatest bartender this world will ever know for it. But he can read your memories. And that's how he gets the drinks. And he may not know that he's doing it or how he is doing it. And it may be purely innocent. I don't know. Because he surely didn't seem to know what he was bringing me.
Curious. How would we even go about finding out if that was true? Curious indeed.
We need to bring somebody here who's never drank here before and find out what their greatest favorite drink is of all time beforehand and see if he can bring it to them. Something very specific. Something from a key memory. Something to prove for sure.
And who would that be?
I have no idea. But if we come across someone like that, Gideon's gonna slide the box to you, Damien. You can go ahead and open it if you want to, sure. But I know for sure that's got a bottle of Jacques Jacquer 806 in it.
Damien will open the box.
Damien, as you open the box, you see a bottle with a brown liquid in it and a very faded label. But you see the numbers 806 on it.
Incredible.
Those bottles were all numbered, individual bottles. So I know it's the exact one I buried.
Interesting indeed.
Your man is magic.
Well, how would you feel about asking me to ask him for a job for you?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'll never be as good of a bartender as he can be.
I don't think anyone would be asking you to be.
But it is definitely a mystery.
Aye.
And besides, I'd like to see it around. See how he picks the things.
Aye.
See if I can figure it out.
And pick his brain.
Yeah.
Aye. Well, Jolly.
I
He has a question for you.
I'm sorry if I offended you, but I've never had a
No.
drink choice cause people to run away from the bar like that before.
That is okay. But your king does have a question for you. Or is seeking a favor of you.
How can I help you?
My friend Gideon needs a job. At least until I can get him a place of his own. Would he be able to work here? Under you?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really have the money to pay him. And in fact, I don't really have the money to keep the business floating as it is. You see, my wife in her trades and goods and such, she keeps the doors open.
She says I give too much away. I just hate for people to have a sour day, you know? So,
I understand that.
as much as I would say yes, but I couldn't reasonably. But if you get her to sign off on it, I would gladly take the help, you know? Maybe
Aye.
she could have you work over there, or... But yeah. This is a labor of love, and I love doing it. And that's why she makes sure that I have this place. You know what I mean?
I understand. Well, thank you for the drink.
Anytime.
As- I'll put 5 gold pieces on the table.
I would never charge you, you know?
Aye, I'm your king. I'm just simply making a donation. Come, Gideon. Just out of curiosity, is this like the entrance to her
Yeah.
place over here? Okay. Well, welcome to the bazaar.
Well.
Hello there, Callista.
Callista will stand completely up off of her couch, and she gives you the largest and most graceful of bows, which allows her very large bosom to be seen directly down. My lord, and how can I help you today? As she stays bowed.
Please stand. It is okay. I appreciate your etiquette. I would like you to meet my friend Gideon, as I'm sure that you already noticed him from a big spectacle in town.
One of the 3 that got summoned here by your phantom guy. You know, that's awfully big talks. We get a king and an enemy in the same day. The world is a much bigger place, huh?
Let me inform you. He is the Phantom Menace. He is pure evil. But beyond that, we just came from your husband's place. And I had asked Jolly to see if he could give my friend Gideon here a job. But
oh, but he told you that I'm the one that's bankrolling the bar, huh?
aye, indeed he did.
Yeah. That's not a commonly known secret. He
That is okay. I don't plan to share that.
He's a little liberal with his free drinks, if you know what I mean.
Aye.
Yeah, it's all right. I love the buffoon. He always knows how to make me laugh. Knows just what to bring me.
He's a good man.
That he is. It's funny. You know?
Aye.
I travel all over the deserts, the plains. I've been to tropical islands everywhere, looking for trade partners and all manners of goods. But yet that man who spends all his time cleaning glasses and mugs and he just knows what the perfect cheese and wine combination is, you know?
Aye. It's strange how he knows what everyone wants.
Well,
What they're dying to have.
he's gifted, that's for sure. He's been that way since a kid, you know?
Really?
Yeah. Everybody's always said that. I always had a nose for food.
Well, how about my friend here?
So you just drop into town and you need a job, huh?
Until he gets his own place of work. As Damien nudges Gideon.
Hmm.
Do you have any ideas for him?
Well,
He was once the barkeep and tavern keep back in his own city. One with the people he is.
I don't have much in the way of taverns. I already keep one floating as it is. And Jim keeps it pretty much running. Huh? I do have need of a captain. I recently just lost one of my captains to illness. I have a trade ship at dock that has no captain. And you look like you have a pair of sea legs under you.
As Damien's gonna look at Gideon with a cheerful smile. Oh, isn't that right, Captain? Gideon Windrider, Captain of the Seas.
I have a job if you are interested, Captain. It pays 500 a trip. There and back again. Many trips as you can make. And I understand if you'll have to step down to return to a more normal way of life eventually. You know, captaining isn't a career job anymore these days.
Well, I actually think that job would be perfect for Gideon. Seeing that we do need to make some external connections.
I was just thinking the same thing. That'll allow me access to come and go. This could work for us.
Well, you say, Captain.
I don't know how the wife would feel about me going back out on the ocean again. But 500 gold is hard to pass up on, especially per trip.
Callista, would you be willing to let him talk it over with his wife?
I don't have anybody else clamoring for the captain's job right now. I got 17 ships already going, so it's not like I'm hurting for trade goods right now. And with the ice storm down, I sent them all a-running.
That was wise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, would you like to talk it over with your wife, Gideon?
I think she'll understand. And something like this doesn't just come up every day. So, I'll take the job. Besides, it'll help us reestablish our other plans. By the way, Damien, sorry, my lord, if your air captain ever wants to get off his rear end, I got other shipments for him to do too.
Hi. You're talking about the one with the horns?
Yeah. Your tiefling fella.
Hi. I will send him your way. When I find where he is.
I usually find him sleeping at the tavern, but as of late, I don't know where he's been slinking off to.
Hi. We'll find him. And I'll send him your way.
All right. Those airship transfers are good money, because the goods get here and back very quick.
Aye. Indeed. Well, Gideon, you know the way back to town?
Well,
Back to our place of home?
well, it sounds like I need to go to the docks and make my acquaintance with a new ship. But I think I'll head up to the mansion one more time and let the wife know what's happened.
Aye.
Give the kids my best and whatnot. They're still free to stay at the guest house, yes?
Absolutely. And
Um,
they will have my protection.
I'll make sure that they work the garden and
I
help in the stables and such and stay out from underfoot.
would appreciate that. I will make sure that they are fed and kept well.
I appreciate that. And thank you for this.
Don't thank me. Not yet, at least.
Well, one of these days, we're gonna be drinking again. In my place, surrounded by the trophies of our victories.
Aye. You're damn right.
All
The
right.
first round will be on me. Callista, thank you.
Bye, Damien.
I wish you luck, Gideon. Well, I see you've put him to good work.
Oh, you went over to the armory?
I did.
Okay. Hello? My king? As Astrid kind of like takes her apron and curtsies a little bit.
I appreciate your courtesy. I see that you've met my friend Ironwood.
I
Thank
have.
Whiskey for bringing him to you. I hope he is of good use.
He definitely knows the way of the forge.
Well, I'm glad.
It's just,
I appreciate you taking him in.
I'm just happy to have somebody in here who's actually excited to be working and not just somebody who's waiting for the whistle to blow to go home.
Aye. He's a good man.
Hmm.
I think you'll come to like him.
There's already a man I like. I don't need more of him in my life.
I wasn't talking like that. I know Whiskey's got that in the bag. He might not talk it, but he shows it.
I know it might not be polite to threaten royalty, but I want to make you a promise. And I would like a promise in return.
Well, let me hear it.
I need you to promise me to bring that cat back to me. Alive. I don't know what that ghost thing that showed up at the Citadel yesterday was, but it looks bad. People showing up out of thin air. Him making threats at you. And you certainly know who he is. Now people are talking about a warship the size of a city.
Aye.
I need that cat. I need what he has in his head. And I just need him.
Well, whether I like to admit it or not, I need him too. Not just for what he could provide, but more than that. He is family to me too.
Well,
Our
good.
King Damien promised to bring him back alive. Just like my entire crew and all my generals. I don't think that they will let me let them die.
I, Astrid Steelhand, promise if you don't, I will crush your head with this hammer.
And I would appreciate it if you did. If it came to it. I'm sure I would need the rightful kick in the rear, or as you say, up top.
I'm
Well,
glad we have an understanding that.
and about that Phantom Menace who appeared, I think you might be able to get a little more information about that from Ironwood himself, as he was one of the members of his city.
Well, I'll ask him about him then. If he would just... I think he needs to get over the shock and awe of a woman in the forge first.
Aye. I'm not saying ask him right now.
Mhm.
You can ask him at your own time.
He's
I trust you to it.
He's a good smith, but he's easily distracted.
Aye.
Anyway. Thank you. And Astrid's gonna just quickly grab you, and she's gonna squeeze you in a hug. And it is going to be an incredibly hard hug for like 2 seconds. Like the kind that just like, whoa, and then she lets you go, you know?
Damien will, like towards the very end of the hug, return the favor of, receiving the hug. And he'll, nod his head and he'll walk out. And he'll go back to actually, there's one place that he's gonna go first. Drag.
Well, why don't we wait on that one? I want to do moon stuff
Yeah.
right now.
Do it.
Okay. Moon.
Yes.
We're going to rewind the day a little bit here. So Whisker kind of peeled off and went to the armory, and Damien kind of peeled off and went to the tavern. And you were following along with them. And as Damien went into the tavern with Gideon, you were just kind of left on the road a little bit here. And you just kind of taken in the sights a little bit of the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you feel a pull ever so slightly down the road. And as you kind of follow this, you find yourself at the main gate. And you ask the guard to pass. The guard warns you that outside the city, the barrier can protect you from the snow, that kind of stuff. And that not to stay outside for very long, and yada, yada, yada. The normal spiel. But the pull is strong, and you feel you need to go out there. So you pull your cloak over yourself, you pull the hood up, and you step outside the city walls on the path. And you find yourself out in the snow just outside the city walls. And you kind of crunch along the city walls, just following along. And you see on this journey outside the city walls, you see a lot of ruined houses along your way. You see an old quarry that had been dug and all these ruined houses along the way. And you just keep following this pool. And as you're moving along the city walls, you come across a part of where the city wall meets where the old city was built. And there's a very obvious wrecked wall, a ruined wall right in here that has been ruined and rubbled. And you're able to pass through it. And on the other side of the wall, on one side you see the city wall where the barrier is, but then there's like this whole ruined city on the other side. A part of the town that's not talked about. The homes are all boarded up and shantied, tents that are tattered and iced over. And you're just drawn through this ghost town.
I feel like it's already a very fitting environment.
As you're standing kind of in the middle of this ghost town, all these small buildings that are ruined around you, there is only one building that is of any kind of consequence in this area. And it's this cathedral. A large Gothic style cathedral. And it is ruined on the outside. The door has fallen off. The roof has holes in it. The snow has fallen in on top of it.
I mean, Moon would approach it. This is like where the pull is like coming from.
This is where the pull is coming from. This is where it's the strongest.
Should I do like an investigation?
You can do an investigation. With an 11, as you're walking through this, you kind of enter in the front door. And you see these lines of destroyed, rotted pews covered in snow. And it kind of just reminds you of every other church you've ever seen. And at the end of the church, at the end of the cathedral, you see the pulpit and a raised platform where a priest would have stood to give his sermons and his lectures. And it's not your kind of normal place that you would be drawn to. So you're not really sure why you feel this connection here.
I feel like I should do a religion check. Would doing a religion check give me like more insight about like to what this church actually worships?
It could.
If I wasn't rolling so low.
With an 11, you moving through the snow in the area, you're looking for any kind of symbology or anything that would remind you or be familiar with a religion that was done here. And unfortunately, you just don't see any of that kind of symbolism that you're used to seeing in a cathedral. In fact, you find a great lack of symbology. You notice that there are no paintings on any of the walls. That the windows, while they are broken, the ones that are intact are not stained glass in the traditional ways, that they're just normal panes. And you've noticed that all of the symbology of this building is just missing. It's a blank slate.
It sounds like a perfect opportunity for her to turn it into a death-worshipping monastery.
Give me a perception check.
I feel like my insight would do better than my religion checks. Perception. Better.
You notice that on the other side of the pulpit, there are stairs that lead down to maybe possibly a crypt.
It's more than persuasive enough for her to go inside. She does not watch horror movies at all.
As she journeys down these stairs, she's met with the door, which she is able to push open. And she's met with a burst of kind of dry air, which counteracts the cold, bitter air that she has been experiencing out here. And as she walks into the crypt, she finds a single flame burning in the center of this place, very lightly. But it's enough to give just a brief illumination in this room. A massive brazier, all but burned out. And as she stares at the many crypts lining the walls, she's greeted by that familiar sense of darkness as the flame extinguishes.
What?
See you have found me again.
Do I recognize the voice?
It is
Player-
us.
What's a brazier?
It's like the pot that would have a lot of fire in it that like sits on the floor.
I need to look up what this is. This is like the voice of the many-faced god.
Yes.
I feel as though it's been quite some time, even though I know it hasn't.
It is always good to speak with you, Moonbeam. You have traveled very far from any place that I have ever had hold of in this world.
Is this one of them? Is this what used to be a place of worship for you?
No. No, it is not. This used to be a temple devoted to understanding of life. A place where they tried to religify not being religious. They made it devoid of gods and made the living the one in charge. But as you can see, these temple walls may sunder and fall.
I think I could rebuild this place. I find you so easily in it.
I believe you could as well. And within these walls, I believe you might have great influence. Yet again in this world.
My concern is with convincing these people. I know I have not. I do not follow a religion that is easily accepted. A way of life that is for me comforting, but for others it is can be terrifying.
And that is an understanding of life itself. Those who have followed in my name in the past have done so to a point that has caused great strife for those who try to follow. They've done much bloodshed, believing the living, their only serve purpose is to die. And so they caused great crusades to kill as much as possible in my name. And I never wanted that for the world. In fact, quite the opposite. For I want subjects
to understand the balance between life and death, to enjoy life and realize how precious it is, so that every moment spent alive is a gift, and the understanding that when it comes to an end, it is not something to be afraid of, but something to be rejoiced.
I also agree that everything has its time. Every being has its time. There are some beings which defy that logic, such as Bishop. But even he has an ending point.
Your
And there's nothing to be
construct,
feared of.
this bishop, it intrigues me. He comes from a plane of existence that I do not exist on. Did you know that, Moon?
I had never stepped into that plane of existence. And Bishop and I had spoke. He knew nothing of you or the life that I live. And it's something that we spoke of to understand each other in a way. I imagine if he does not know of you until he met me, then the place where he belonged also wouldn't have you, which honestly doesn't make much sense, to be honest.
I'm sure there is a version of death there. It may not be me, but I'm sure death and darkness are there nonetheless. Regardless, that is not why I have chosen to speak to you right now. I want you to build this temple in my name, in our faces. I would like for you to train a new generation of monks and raise them in the monastery like you were. As for the public opinion, it will grow over time as your good deeds show the world that we are not the monsters of old.
It would be my honor. I could even turn part of these structures to an orphanage. Many of these people have lost their families. Bring good.
I believe it is a worthy cause, something for you to devote your life to. But for now, I want you to focus on the path before you. Archibald and the demon that possesses him is still a great threat.
The demon that possesses him. He is not by himself.
No. No, he is not. Nor will he ever be. Archibald is possessed by a demon. It gives him his power. He is a warlock, much like your Vesper. He draws his patronage from it. The demon is known as Malifas, and it has corrupted him.
How can I successfully take on this warlock possessed by a demon? That was just my notes.
Your party is strong, Moon. I have faith in your ability, as well as the ability of the members of your party, to confront this Archibald. But when backed against the wall, Malifas will abandon his subject. He will tear himself from his flesh and flee his worldly vessel. He will flee away to a realm of hell, only to repeat the cycle again. So
I must find a way to stop the demon instead of Archibald.
I am not sure there is a way to stop the Demon King, the Demon Lord, which is why this temple is important in the future. I want to guarantee that if Malifas escapes, that there are legions to fight him in the future. Does that make sense, Moon?
Very much so. I have some more advice I'd like to ask you about in this matter. How can I bring proof to the people? If people know of this demon lord, of Malifas, then surely people would be more aware. There may be a better way to stop him if I'm able to give proof of way or more understanding.
This is valid.
Are is knowledge of him known anywhere? Of Malifas? Could I find information in a library or among the beings that I had met that worked in the shop? Oh, player to other players. What was the name of that being that came through the disc hole thingy for the shop that wanted knowledge for items? What?
That would have
The
been
Wisp.
the Wisp in the occult shop.
Yes. Moon to the god. Would a being such as the Wisp know of him?
Malifas has been I don't know how to answer this. You might find information in your world, in your plane of existence about it. Search for Malifas, Lord of Crows. He is one of the lords of hell. has been missing for centuries from the wars of Avernus. Nobody has seen him for some time. And I believe that he has been plotting whatever he is doing in our plane here.
Do you know what his goal is? If he's been working and plotting for centuries.
That I don't know. Only that he has been passing himself from physical vessel to physical vessel, empowering them with otherworldly abilities. They would ascend to ranks of lords and kings of nations, and then when they've been founded or sought after, he would rip themselves out of the flesh of their subjects, and he would flee and disappear again in the night. This is why I tell you this story, because when I believe that you confront Archibald for real, Malifas will do this yet again.
If I were to get my hands on Malifas and Archibald, would I be able to, with the gifts that you have provided me, send them both to you?
I cannot contain a Lord of Hell in my realm.
Would it be unwise to send him to you, for you to send him back to where he belongs?
That would be all I could do. If you sent Malifas to the Void, I would have to release him back to Avernus, to be judged by the devils of hell again. And chances are they will just release him back into the plains of Avernus. And since Malifas already knows how to enter into this mortal plane, he will just continue his campaign of evil once he escapes Avernus again.
I see.
This is why I'm afraid the cycle will continue. Why I am trying to future plan. So while you might succeed against Archibald and stop whatever Malifas and him are planning now, however many centuries down the road it may be, Malifas will return. And I want to be sure that there are warriors like you to be able to fight him again.
I have one last question for you. Is anything left of Archibald? If Malifas was to separate himself from his vessel, does his vessel have any bearings of themselves?
Archibald
Really?
sold a large portion of his soul, gave it to Malifas willingly for power. But there is a glimmer of what humanity Archibald still has. And that glimmer that remains, there may yet be a way to exploit it. Archibald
I see.
has always thought of himself as an honorable person. Even through all of his evil that he has caused, he always tries to be honorable. So when you confront him, do so in honorable combat, and he will not be able to not be honorable in combat with you. It will be his weakness, his Achilles heel.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. His,
If you engage Archibald in honorable combat, he will have no choice but to also engage you in honorable combat. Which means he won't use his trickeries, his deceptions. He'll fight you on an even field, for reals. And that is where you can get at him. Because at his core, Archibald sees himself as an honorable person. And that is where you can destroy the man.
my own honor as a priestess of yours truly. I vow to turn this newfound monastery to be in your name, to train the younger generations to be able to fight against this immeasurable demon that has taken over Archibald. I also vow to convince Vesper to not use any trickery so that we may fight him on an even basis. I think this would be our best way to win, as you say. It would be my honor to serve you yet again.
Go in shadow, my priestess.
And with that, the brazier of the room relights with a small single flame as light is cast back in the crypt.
Moon will silently take a bow and just out loud, "Thank you, my lord." She'll take a moment to take this in. Seems I also need to have a conversation with everyone. And with that, she will calmly make her way back into town.
Before you leave the crypt, you'll notice at your feet a single black crow's feather.
I'll pocket it. Well, gently and carefully, obviously.
All right. Sorry, I was coughing through that entire thing.
No need to apologize. We all know you're going through shit.
Ugh. We'll just
That's
say it
right,
was
sir.
dramatic. We'll just say it was dramatic pauses. Man.
I mean, it worked.
Whew. So, with that,
On a quick note, player to player, Ash, I'm sorry that my update caused you to go repeat that.
Don't be sorry at all. To be honest, I'd much rather look and respond to you than do anything else in that moment. No offense to anyone, but
Well, I appreciate that.
all right. With that, Damien, did you still want to do anything in the Crystal Garden?
No, that's okay.
All right. Would we all like to reconvene back at the mansion?
Yeah.
I say yes.
Okay. We'll go ahead and say that Ironwood and Gideon are off doing things. And then Moon and Damien are at the front door. And Whisker. There we go. And action.
Well, Damien, I took Ironwood to the forge. I think he's gonna work out.
I stopped by before I came back here. He seems to be hard at work. And you got yourself a keeper.
She say anything?
Of course.
Mm.
But remember, you didn't want me to tell you about your date, so I'm not going to tell you about mine.
I mean, fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
To you too. That's okay. All right.
He doesn't leave my side, but it's like I'm his bodyguard because he has to follow me around like a little lost puppy, afraid. It's like both.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Well, Gideon found him a job. He's going to be a ship captain again.
I was gonna say, is he gonna help Jim? But never mind.
You guys, I have had a little journey myself today, and we all need to talk.
A good talk, hopefully.
We shall see.
I don't know where Val is, but
I'm
I'll
sure
gather the
she's
ones
in
that
the
can.
library.
Hey, as Damien will kick the chair. Wake up. We all need to have a discussion.
Yeah. You're back.
Hi. Bishop, you too.
Oh, Moon, so nice to see you.
It is good to see you. This place really does kinda
Just been
starting to
here,
feel like home.
reading more, just trying to understand more about my primal warrior. Like, I sat with him for a little while and spoke with him just about, my grandmother, because although I knew who she was. I didn't really get to know her because, yeah, she passed before I could. So
I understand that all too well. Why don't you join us in here? I have some news that really needs to be shared.
okay.
Damien, I know you said we had to meet, but did we have to meet in a place with all these words?
Relax. It's not like you have to read any of them.
Oh, thank God.
Well, Moon,
I had the pleasure of venturing outside of the city walls today.
Mm-hmm.
I felt a significant pull of energy, like someone was wanting me to come to them. And I followed that, and it brought me to just east of the old city. On the other side of these walls are an abandoned, smaller city, much smaller, but it brought me to a church. This pole brought me to a church, which is in itself something that confused me on such a profound level, because me as a worshiper of the many-faced God, to be brought to a church, a faceless church at that, there was nothing there. I found myself in the basement of the ruins of this old church, and there was a brazier. The light went out, and suddenly I just felt so at home, and I heard his voice. The many-faced God had wished to speak to me, and he gave me some information that will surely help us. Archibald is not just Archibald. Archibald is possessed by a demon, and not just any demon. This is what the God of Death told me himself. He's known as a warlock, and he is Malefas. Is it Malefas or Malefast?
Malefas.
His name is Malefas, a demon lord, the Lord of Crows, one of the Lord of Hells, or Lords of Hell. The many-faced God has told me that Malefas has been missing for centuries, and he has been, well, the many-faced God believes, thank you, the many-faced God believes that Malefas has been in our plane of existence, plotting. And he has been on the run of death, or from the walls of Avernus. He's been taking over vessel after vessel, and his current vessel is Archibald. And Archibald willingly gave majority of his soul over to Malefas for pure power. We are not just dealing with Archibald here, we are dealing with a Lord of Hell. And it is not going to be easy. But
So he is both his warlock patron and he resides inside of Archibald as a possession. That is incredible news.
That's his.
He's given me some hope in defeating Archibald. So there may be a way to exploit the slightest glimmer of soul that Archibald keeps on for himself. And it is the belief from the many-faced God that we may be able to exploit what's left of his soul by fighting him in an honorable way. By making the fight with him honorable, he will drop his trickery. We may have an even chance at defeating Archibald. We have no chance, not even in hell, to defeat Malifas. And that is because as soon as his vessel is hunted down, he rips himself from his vessel and finds another or a place to hide. And he will come back. But I have plotted myself with the God of Death, and if I am able to get my hands on him, I can send both him and Archibald to see the many-faced God within the void. And from there, my God can send him to where he belongs to be judged for his crimes. Now, that is to say that he won't ever come back. This demon has known to be in and out of Avernus, to ways to get out of hell, to find himself back here on the material plane. Either way, Archibald must die, and if I can get my hands on him, we may be able to save our old city and all of the people here. But this is also not all. The God of Death has asked me to turn that old church that I had found into a monastery of the many-faced God, to train monks in my way of life, in my way of beliefs.
And Death Knights. As Vesper kind of stands up.
Yes. It would only be right of me to ask you to help me, Vesper. We can train these new monks to be able to wield the power and the force necessary to combat this demon in the future. Because it may be another century or many more centuries before the demon shows his face again, but by starting this life here, it'll pave the way for the future generations to keep this demon at bay until we find, or they find, a way to keep him in Avernus.
So your God really thinks there's no way to destroy this demon? And that even if we were to send him back to Avernus, that even if he faced judgment by those who would, he would just claw his way back into this plane of existence?
Unless we find another solution, my God does not know of another. I think that we should start looking. Valmora, you know how to find information. Maybe you can help me find information on Malifas.
Absolutely. It just depends, because there's even limitations to what I can do when it comes to retrieving information.
So,
Of course.
seems like we got a little bit more work here. First off, Moon, like I don't mean any offense. I don't know your god. But you said that we could get rid of Malphast and Archibald if you touched them?
When Vesper changed to be now what he is, I became his patron. And I have a new... He has granted me something that I can do within physical touch.
Okay, so he's granted you something new you can do with physical touch. That's great, but I kind of see it as a problem here. You said that Malphast likes to just like, for lack of better words, I guess fucking bounce. Like he runs whenever his host gets in trouble.
At, Father.
So, like, how are you gonna touch the both of them if he runs?
It's only one way to try. There's no guarantee of being able to touch Archibald at all, but I will try. My god has asked me to try.
But Moon, he has a point. If you try to get close to this demon and somehow he's able to possess you, we would lose you to this demon then too. There's got to be a different way for that. That can't be. Your god could not have asked you to do that.
I would hope he didn't.
That's not self-sacrifice. What? No. Not especially if he's asked you to raise a temple in his name to future-proof. No.
With that, Bishop...
He's not... Bishop... He's not asked me to kill myself. This is something that I brought to his attention. I've asked him if I were able to send him into the void, would he be able to take care of the demon? His response was that he'd be able to send him back to Avernus, but he wouldn't be able to do anything more with that. He does not have the capability to keep a Lord of Hell within his dimension.
I see. So he didn't ask you to do this. He just simply stated that if you could, what he was able to do.
Yes.
Well then, that just slightly changes it. I would not want you to put yourself in harm's way. I wouldn't want any of you to put yourself in harm's way. Now we know that dealing with Archibald, if a demon possession is something that we could potentially run into,
we have one on our side who has experience. Vesper was overtaken by Benny. Benny tried to overtake me and I was able to refute him.
But how much powerful is Malphast than Benny?
Benny may have been a demon, but he was no Lord of Hell.
Yeah.
That tells me that whereas Benny couldn't and you could resist Benny, I'm not sure you could resist
Whiskey.
Malphast.
We are only in the talks here. We've just gotten this information now. We have a lot of information to find out. We need to find as much information as we can about Archibald, his past, and as well, we need to find more information about the Lord of Hells, what this demon is actually capable of. knowing what we're facing up against, we may be able to find a way to send him to the void safely without putting my life in that much risk.
We need to find out where Archibald made this agreement. Archibald had to have come from somewhere. This demon agreement that he made had to have happened at some point in history. If we could track that point down, maybe we would have a better understanding of where we are now. Is that making any sense?
It does.
It makes
All we know right
sense.
now is that we need more information before we make any decisions.
We need more information. We need.
So,
From the sounds of it, we need a lot of things.
I have a few ideas on how we can get some more information. We definitely need to get in contact with the spy master, which is something I have no capability of. And Valmoria, do you still have a connection to that being that came to us on that ship? Right out of
Yes.
thin air. You may be able to ask him for some information. We may be able to get some knowledge more about these lords of hell and the relationship that Malifas has to Avernus and why he
Yep.
would leave it.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
We've got a lot of work to do. We need to find information. We need to figure out a plan.
well,
I
then,
don't know your god, Moon. And unfortunately, I didn't have the, I guess, I don't know, honor, distinction, whatever you want to call it, to meet him like Nellis did. I gave 3 of my lives up for a friend, and that turned out very, very, very shitty. I'd do it
Moon is
again in a heartbeat, but I don't want to have to.
Moon
I
is gonna
can't.
grab. She's just gonna come around the table and pull you in for a hug. Whiskey. Vesper was able to meet my god by praying with me. I have asked him if there are some ways of proof, because if there is a way to deliver proof on the Lord, one of the lords of hell, encompassing a vessel, and that of oh my god, I almost said Blackbeard. Wow. And that of Archibald. If we are able to find some proof to bring to the people, to bring to you, that is something that would greatly help our cause. But I think that if you were willing, that I should bring you to meet him, to meet the many-faced God, just for an understanding. Being in his presence is something otherworldly. It feeling his presence gives me the confidence that what he speaks is true. Would you pray with me?
I don't even know where to begin.
It's just as Vesper said. I would gladly show you the way. It is what he has asked me to do. To show everyone the way. Please. Allow me.
All right.
Well, it looks like we need to set up 2 places to work, or 2 shops. A church for the many-faced god, man, person, shadow, and a tavern.
Let me show you the church. I know where.
Vesper's coming this time too.
I'll go.
Are you kidding me? Moon is
I'll go-
more than excited to show everyone where it is.
I'll go with you to see a church.
Yeah, I'm actually going
Yeah,
to.
I'll be going as well.
All right, everybody's
Damien.
going to the church.
Damien, before we leave,
Aye.
you said you needed 2 things built. I think if we're gonna spend any time here, you think maybe you could build me a shop too?
I'll be more than happy to.
Bless you.
Sorry, I couldn't get to the mute quick enough on that one.
Oh, that's
Don't
fine.
bother.
Ooh.
I would be more than happy to.
I just feel like maybe I could be able to do something to help the people here too.
I'd be more than happy to.
I mean, I know I'm just a low-level artificer, but
Believe me,
maybe
Whiskey.
I can help somebody.
Believe me, Whiskey. This goes no offense to your girlfriend, but the moment we landed here, you were the best blacksmith, artificer, wizard in this entire city. So
Your work amazes me.
it amazes everyone, and I'm sure with your own shop you'll be able to do that. Amaze everyone. Well, Moon, lead the way.
Is there a map for this place yet? I'm gonna guess no.
Do you want to see it?
Oh my god! Do you even have to ask?
Of course I want to see everything that Jolly's built, because it's always fucking beautiful.
amazing. Yes. Are you kidding me? That garden alone, like, oi. By the way, I legitimately looked up images of a brazier so that I could see what you were talking about.
Let me get the scene loaded, because I didn't actually have the scene loaded. Because this was one of the scenes I had planned for you, but then when you said you wanted to kind of do this, I was like, oh, I didn't know you were going to do it today.
Like, I didn't know it was gonna happen so soon. It's not loaded in.
Just
And
makes
it's-
me so excited.
And as far as Whiskey's workshop, that is another scene that's already in the works. It's not finished yet, though.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
You know the first. You know the first thing I'm gonna ask you as king, right?
What's that?
Astrid's got to work in my shop and not the forge.
Yep.
Perfectly fine. I was literally gonna say, like, as you said, like, can you build me a shop? I was thinking, well, shit. I guess throughout this next week, I could get back into the map making, and then me and you can make a map together, Whiskey. But if it's already in the works, hell yeah.
Okay, so that needs to go in this folder over yonder so that it can get uploaded.
Joe, you need to dip out, man.
Aw, Joe.
That's
Aw.
okay because
No,
this
hold on.
gives
Why don't we just stop here instead?
yeah,
then?
because then we can get Fed's catched up and his character caught up and because this would be something that I want him to see in person too
Yeah.
and see his actual reaction to it as a
Oh, he says he's sorry you got a
as
phone
his
call
That's okay.
for work. Oh,
Yeah.
bummer.
I think that this is a good stopping point. Because Feds is, I should say, Vesper is second in line for that.
All right. Well,
don't be sad
at
about it.
least let
It's
me click
inevitable.
over to it since I just got it uploaded.
Very well.
Go
It
ahead.
is really important, but we literally can do this anytime. Every Sunday.
All right. Let me
man.
pull people to the scene.
God, it's beautiful.
So you can see it without your tokens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you jerked two at me.
I did.
Yeah, you jerked. Yeah, there's
Oh.
two Damians here.
Sweet.
It's you. It's you. It's me. It's you. It's me. It's me.
There.
Is the basement also created?
I did not create the basement.
That's fair.
I figured it was going to be like a one-time kind of thing, but
Yeah.
I figured for a long time it would
Keep
be.
my headset on, but I got a phone call.
Go ahead.
I figured for a long time the monastery would remain like this, and it would be more of a place that Moon would go and feel at comfort because this is where she feels the most connected.
I mean,
know.
she was initially just fucking drawn there and just followed the draw and ended up there. So, like,
But yeah, like
as
you can
speaking
see,
as Moon, she would want to turn an entire section just to be an orphanage.
mhm.
For herself, she was taken into the monastery as an orphan, so she would feel obligated to do the same.
So I still have some work to do on this. Obviously, you could see that the ground is it's not snowed. So I got to put the snow on it. I still have to do that.
I mean, it looks gorgeous.
So I'm missing that. And I don't, like I said, I don't have the cellar. And then there's also a bell tower that I don't have, but I don't know if I'm going to actually do the bell tower map. But this whole cathedral is going to go on the overworld map. So it is actually going to go in this corner over here.
Okay.
So it's going to go in that corner. And then Whiskey's workshop is going to go over here. So that's where those two holes are there. So when they're finished, they were always intended to be on this overworld. So the whole time, everything will be in this Zatan city.
Hell yeah.
Will the monastery be, because it's not protected by the dome?
Correct. That's why it's going to have the snow around it.
But inside is still safe to be?
Yes. It's not unsafe to be outside the city walls. It's just cold. It's just snow. You know, it's the icy north, you know. It's tundra. Yeah. So it's not, you know, think of Alaska, you know. It's not unsafe to be out there. It's just cold.
Yeah, and I feel like she'd be able to convince them to make an entrance here so that they had safe passage into the city.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's very true. I could probably edit the map there and put another gate there. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. But either way, So yeah, the temple will go in the corner there. Like I said, I got to put the snow on it still, and there's a few little things I want to finish up with it. But there's just, like you can see, as you can see, like I said, it's pretty devoid. Like I tried to keep all of the religious things out of it, but I wanted to give that ruined aesthetic of it, you know?
Yeah.
But I wanted you to have a place that you could see a future, you know?
Because to be honest, like playing as Moon, I feel like Moon would feel very out of place here. Because to like high elves, I imagine, wouldn't take too kindly to her god very easily anyway. Not like Vesper, who was so curious about what the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
And Damien was just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna go play this piano. So, and she hasn't even brought it up to anybody, especially on the council, because she's trying to make a good impression.
Yeah.
And then she's told that there are no real worshipping areas anywhere.
Right.
Not really. And for her, like, to like set up shop and kind of show like, hey, like this is the place of worship. Please accept it. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit easier to work it in as it's not directly inside of the city.
Mm-hmm. That was part of the idea behind it. Anyway, are we agreeing that this is where we're going to stop tonight?
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there, guys. I love your face. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. Y'all are wonderful. We will pick it up with episode 13